Well, good evening, everybody. It's Bobby Harvey once again with another live broadcast downtown here in Ottumwa, Iowa, along the BNSF's Ottumwa subdivision as we wait for Amtrak's Westbound California Zephyr to come in and make its station stop. Now, that train that you hear in the background is actually a CPKC train. And we're probably not going to see much of it, and I need to watch my back to make sure that the Zephyr doesn't come up behind us, but we might zoom in and you might be able to see a tad of that train in the distance. We're not going to see very much of it though, and it's going to be kind of grainy because the CPKC is a ways down there, but level things out here real quick. But these are the tracks that the California Zephyr will be approaching on, and way down there in the distance, kind of by that warning sign, right behind there it goes. You can kind of see it back there, just barely. The southbound CPKC movement. Couldn't tell, but it looked like there might have been a Kansas City Southern leader on that train. And it appears to be grain cars, covered hopper cars. So I don't know if that's a 374 or one of those 300 series unit grain trains. But I do know that the 260s and 250s handle quite a bit of grain traffic as well. So, but at any rate, that's in a way, that's our first train for the night, a CPKC train crossing over the BNSF here in Ottumwa. Now we're going to go ahead and refocus our position, our focus, so to speak, on the BNSF because Amtrak is approaching. They left Mount Pleasant about 10 minutes late or so. So they will be coming shortly. Started the stream just a tad later than we normally do. Still in plenty of time to get the action tonight. Now, as far as other trains on BNSF tonight, I have no idea. Haven't heard anything on the radio about any other trains so far. But with that CPKC train going across, wouldn't surprise me if there are some other trains in the area that will go through after they clear, including Amtrak. But again, we'll just have to see. Now, as you might tell from the way the sunlight and the lighting is right now, I mean, it just looks great, doesn't it? And the weather has definitely been very good for this time of year. In fact, we have barely even hit 80 degrees today. It has been very, not cold, but it has been very, very comfortable, not humid at all. And the forecast for next weekend is looking amazing. Highs in the mid to upper 70s, barely even hitting 80 degrees. And as a lot of you know, next weekend is the Old Threshers Reunion over in Mount Pleasant. We're just a little over 4, almost just 3 days away from the beginning of the Old Threshers Reunion in Mount Pleasant, which I obviously attend every year. I do a video over there every year. This will actually be my 25th year going to Old Threshers, and this will be my 20th year filming the trains and trolleys at Old Threshers. And this is also Old Threshers as a whole, their 75th anniversary. So there's a lot of milestones that'll be accomplished this year at the Old Threshers Reunion. Now, some of you have tuned in so far tonight. Nate's here, and Dakota, and Troy, and James. You guys are already talking about Old Threshers, particularly Engine 9, the West Side Lumber Company Shea steam locomotive that Midwest Central has over in Mount Pleasant. And there's been a lot of chatter going around about that engine, whether it would be ready for the reunion or not. Yesterday, I'm pretty sure it was yesterday or maybe the day before, Midwest Central posted a video on Facebook of Engine 9 under steam for the first time in almost 4 years at Old Threshers, the upcoming Old Threshers Reunion. Now, we're hoping that with a few tests, they did say that they have to do a few more tests to the engine, but if everything checks out, the engine is under steam, and it could very well be running at the Old Threshers Reunion this year in some capacity. Now, obviously, we'll just have to see if it's able to make complete runs. They might not have all the kinks worked out yet with all the overhaul work that they've done, but if everything checks out, we could very well be seeing Engine 9 back at the Old Threshers Reunion this year on the Midwest Central, which that'll be pretty good if that's the case. Because the past couple of years, we had just Engine 6, the only steam engine on the Midwest Central. The Shea ran in the 2021 reunion, and then right before the 2022 reunion, they determined that the engine needed some boiler work and they took it down. So 22, 23, and 24, there was only one steam engine running on the Midwest Central, and that was Engine 6. Now that is that CPKC train that's rolling into the yard right now over across the river. Still has yet to clear the BNSF down here. And as far as the rest of the action on Midwest Central, besides Engine 6, all the rest of the action was diesel powered. Their little diesel hydraulic engines, number 14 and number D9, filled in for Engine 9 the past few years. And it was kind of interesting seeing those engines run a little more than normal. But it'll be really nice to see 2 steam engines on the Midwest Central during Old Threshers this year. Now also on the Midwest Electric side of things, they have essentially a new streetcar that they will be running, number 1811. It is a Peter Witt streetcar, kind of like their 1945 streetcar. And it will be running. And also one of their trolleys that they've had for a long time, number 1779, which hasn't run the past couple of reunions. It had some truck work done. The wheels were sent to the Gomaco Trolley Company up in, I think it's Ida Grove, Iowa, to be remanufactured, and they came back and they're already put on the trolley and they've done some test runs, so that trolley is back as well. So we're going to see 1811, the new streetcar, well, new to the railroad, and 1779. So there could be a lot of streetcars and trolleys running on the Midwest Electric during Old Threshers this year. Off the top of my head, I can count 5 cars. I don't know when was the last time that many cars have been in operation at Midwest Electric for Old Threshers. So this is shaping up to be a pretty exciting Old Threshers year. In addition to it being the 75th anniversary of Old Threshers as a whole, and the 25th year that I've gone, and the 20th year that I will be filming at the Old Threshers Reunion, we've got some different stuff to take pictures of. 9 hopefully will be back, and you'll have 1779 and 1811 on the Midwest Electric, along with all the other trains and trolleys and other events. And with this weather forecast is also very good. I mean, if this weather forecast holds for Mount Pleasant, and I've been looking for the past week, and the forecast is out, about a week on my phone, and it looks fantastic. No sign of rain. Highs in the mid to upper 70s, lows in the 50s, sunny skies. I mean, if this weather forecast holds for Old Threshers, it could be some of the nicest weather that we've had at Old Threshers in a long time. If ever. I cannot think of the last time we've had that good weather at Old Threshers. It has been a long time. Usually you have at least a couple of hot days. Sometimes you have rainy days, and sometimes the days are kind of chilly and overcast, because of course you're nearing the end of summer, and sometimes it can get kind of chilly in a way if there's no sun out and there's a little breeze. Actually, today it got kind of chilly for a little while. I mean, not really chilly, but when you're used to really sweltering hot temperatures, I mean, cold air and breeze is, cooler air and breeze is quite a shock in a way, but it's a nice shock. I mean, this is always a good time of year. Fall is my favorite time of year. So feeling some hints of fall in the air, and we're only a few weeks out from the official start of fall. Feeling that in the air, it makes me feel really good, because we're just leading into all of those really good fall days, crisp fall days. Looking forward to all the excitement of fall, all the, pumpkin spice and all that stuff, and Halloween, and then we just go right into Thanksgiving and Christmas. Some of the most exciting, my favorite time of year, 3 favorite months of the year is October, November, December, and we're getting close. And obviously this time around Old Threshers time is also very special as well. We're just 4 days away, almost just 3 days away from the start of the Old Threshers Reunion for this year. So I've been kind of rambling. We're just waiting for Amtrak to show up here in Ottumwa. But that's what I'll be doing next week. So any of you that enjoy watching my live streams, I'll be taking a break next week for the Old Threshers Reunion. Now, last year, I actually did a live stream from Old Threshers. I'm probably not going to do that this year, because I want to focus on getting my normal video for my documentary, my compilation video that I like doing, that I film with my regular full-fledged video equipment, video camera and stuff. So I'm going to focus on that and probably not do a live stream this year at Old Threshers. So there won't be a live stream next week, probably the week after that. We'll get back into things. So we're going to go ahead and do our stream tonight, and then it'll be time to get ready for Old Threshers. Hope to see some of you guys over there. If you can make it over Thursday through Monday, this upcoming Thursday through Labor Day, be the Old Threshers Reunion in Mount Pleasant at McMillan Park. Just a little south and east of downtown Mount Pleasant. And obviously the Midwest Central runs their narrow gauge steam trains over there, and steam and diesel trains. Hopefully we've got 2 steam engines again this year, with 9 coming back, hopefully. And the Midwest Electric runs their standard gauge streetcars and trolleys around the Old Threshers campgrounds. There's a lot of railroad activity. And most of what I do at Old Threshers surrounds the trains, but there's so much more there than just trains. I mean, there's tractors, there's traction engines, there's cars, trucks, living history. There's the old Wild West town, there's a log village, a bunch of activities and food and a bunch of other things. So if you're in the area, if you're in the Mount Pleasant area, this upcoming Thursday through Labor Day, check out the Old Threshers Reunion. With that, we have a train fresh from Mount Pleasant arriving here in Ottumwa now. It's our train, the westbound Amtrak California Zephyr, Train 5, now arriving here in Ottumwa. So our locomotives tonight, 171 is our second unit, back to back with our leader number 151. Don't know if you guys can see the signal aspect down at the ice. Looks like an approach aspect. Might mean there's some more trains on down the line. As the engineers are changing, Ottumwa is a crew change point for the Zephyr. The engineer that got off brought the train in from Chicago. The engineer that's getting on will be taking this train further west to Lincoln, Nebraska, and that'll be the next crew change. Now this is how the Zephyr always used to be oriented, but not as much anymore. It's so kind of nice to see the engines back to back. You don't see that much anymore. A lot of times they run elephant style, which is back to front. Yeah, you're good. Yep. Have some passengers there walking the platform. Now, Ottumwa is a crew change point. It is also a fresh air stop for the passengers. So, since it being an extended stop, this allows the passengers to get off the train and stretch their legs for a few minutes. And on my travels on the Zephyr and other trains like the Southwest Chief, I usually would take advantage of these fresh air stops and get out, at least take a few pictures off of the train before getting back on. Very fond memories of doing that in my many times traveling the Zephyr. I'd get out at places like Denver and Salt Lake City and Fraser, Colorado, Grand Junction, Reno. The Zephyr is one of, if not the most scenic Amtrak train to ride. If you want to ride any Amtrak train, long distance train, the Zephyr is one of the best. And I speak from experience, been on the Zephyr many times from here out west. That's a warning whistle. So everybody that's been on the platform, it's time to get on the train and get out of here. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and pan back to the front of the train. We get ready for their departure. Yeah, they still have an approach signal down there. I think it's just approach. Let me check real quick. Yeah, all I can see is the top signal aspect, and it is yellow, so it's an approach something. See if I can hear him say on the radio. Yep, the signal just turned green down there, so they got it clear. You might not be able to see it, but it's kind of down where that platform, that red platform warning sign is for passengers. I can kind of see it in between there and the crossing gates for Gateway Drive. It's way down, almost a mile down the track at the ice crossing with CPKC. Signal just went from yellow to green, so they got it clear. Off they go. And 151 and 171, our leaders on the train. Then we got our Fuel Liner 2 baggage car. I think we got some skillful engineers at the helm tonight. Did a good job bringing the train in and pulling out. Transition sleeper, here come our sleeping cars. He's gonna do a really good, fast running brake test. Dining car. There's a lounge. And our coaches. 2 coach baggage cars. Off we go. You might have heard him say they are got a clear signal at the ice, which the ice is the BNSF name for the crossover with CPKC, just on down the tracks there, about 3/4 of a mile in the distance. The Zephyr is clear. They are on their way to their next stop in Osceola, about an hour from now, and then on west.
A5 on the move out of Ottumwa. I got 730-33 for you. Understood. 33 displayed and ready. AMTK 151 west reports clear. Limits track marker 730-33 between CTCP 2502 CTC Ottumwa at 1913-1913 by engineer Michaud. AMTK 151 west report clear. Track marker 730-33 between CTC CP 2502 and CTC Ottumwa 1913-1913. Is that correct? Over. That's all correct, and in-out times for Ottumwa tonight, 3 and 12, 03 and 12, over. Understood, copy. Have a good trip. Thank you.
Not bad. It's a 9-minute stop. That is not bad at all. So the Zephyr is on its way, and the way that signal went from solid yellow to green kind of leads me to believe that there might have been a train coming east and crossing over down the line. Because if they were following a train, it would go from approach to approach medium, which would be a flashing yellow aspect. Since it went directly from approach to clear, I wonder if there was a train crossing over down the line and now is cleared. So I don't have any definite facts about that yet, but I wonder if that's what happened. So the Zephyr is clear. So for those of you just coming in, just rewind the stream about 10-15 minutes and you'll be able to see the whole Zephyr stop for tonight. But we're not even to the 30-minute, we're not even to the 30-minute mark yet. So we're gonna go ahead and keep things rolling just a little longer. Have some discussions in the chat with you guys and talk about trains and anything else that's going on while we maybe wait for some other action here on the BNSF Ottumwa subdivision here in Ottumwa. It's always interesting to notice all the differences in the train consist, which you think that it stays pretty much the same, and usually it does. But it's always nice to see little differences in the consist. Like, for example, 2 coach baggage cars. Usually the Zephyr just runs with 1 coach baggage, and then the other 2 coaches are just normal coaches. The locomotives were back-to-back. Usually they're elephant style. So just little things like that always make it interesting when you're getting essentially the same train multiple times like we do here on the live stream. It's neat to see differences in the trains, including the actual car numbers and locomotive numbers. It'd be interesting to compile a list of all the different engines we've seen leading the trains into Ottumwa the past several months we've been doing these. I don't know if we've seen 151 or not. I feel like maybe we have several weeks ago, but I have to look. Now, I didn't do a live stream yesterday. I was contemplating doing one yesterday a week ago, and I thought that maybe the Operation Lifesaver engine might be coming back. Well, it didn't. So just as well that I waited to do the live stream today instead of doing one yesterday, because the engine was not on it. The second time, last Saturday, it led the train going east, but then when it turned around, they did turn it around and send it back west, but it was trailing. So, and now it's totally off the rotation. So just as well that I wait until today, and it's a nice day too. So
729-34, Fox 2,
yeah, that's Amtrak, the engineer, communicating with the conductor about their upcoming track warrant. Once they get to Albia, they'll be coming off of CTC trackage, going to track warrant control, ABS signaling. Probably got a track warrant all the way down to Creston. It's usually what happens. Okay, we're going to look at these signals to the east and see what's going on, if anything. Now, the sunlight might be preventing me from seeing the eastbound signals, so I can't tell if there's a clear for an eastbound or if it's not on at all. The way the sunlight's shining, I might not be able to see a clear aspect very well, just the way the sun is shining. The signals are still lit to the west. They are all red. I might jump over real quick and see what the eastbound facing signal for main 1 looks like. Okay, it is a clear signal. So we have, and our westbound signal just went to approach. So we've got 2 movements lined up, east and westbound. Okay, so what should we do? I wonder if I should go down to the edge of the platform to get a better view of this eastbound. It had the signal first, so I mean, I'm guessing that theory I had about the signal going from yellow straight to green for Amtrak was correct. There was a train that crossed over a ways down and now is out of the way, so Amtrak's got to clear, and then they are going to continue east on Main 2, which is the track furthest away from us. It would not surprise me at all if that ends up being the local freight 664, which is always one of the most desired trains to see at this time of night here in Ottumwa, because it is always running. It typically runs with some older power, and it's really neat to see. It's been running with a Santa Fe -9 for the past couple of weeks. We've actually gotten that one in the stream a couple of times. And there's also a train lined up going west. Who knows what that is? A train might tip me off on what that is when it hits agency. So, well, this is not a bad place to be. So I think we're just going to stay right here and get both trains. Of course, some of the weeds are obstructing some of the view for our trains on Main 2, and obviously we're on the wrong side of the tracks, sun-wise, for either train, but
we're on our way out now.
We'll still get a good picture regardless. This is a nice view. That radio chatter you hear right now is on the CPKC. Probably that southbound that we saw come into the yard. They've got a new crew and they're probably getting ready to leave. So yeah, I don't know if you guys can see it down there. We'll zoom in on it. You might be able to see it. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but the signal down there is at approach. Yellow for another train. Now on CTC signaling, whenever the signals are always red unless the dispatcher has a train lined up. So if you ever see a signal on CTC trackage that is not red, it's yellow or green, you know that there's some movement, some sort of movement that's going to be coming through. And the eastbound signal is also green for an eastbound movement on Main 2. And the only reason I could tell is because I walked across to the other platform and I could see the signals for Main 1, which were lit and red. I could barely make out the signal being clear for Main 2. But obviously, on BNSF, whenever there's something going on that causes the circuit to be active and causes the signals to light, all the signals light. Like you're looking at the eastbound facing signals, both sets of signals for both tracks light up at the same time, even if the movement might just be on one track. And that's a little different from some other railroads like Union Pacific. On Union Pacific, on some of their lines, especially like the overland route across Iowa, I'm pretty sure that some of their signals, they're signaled in both directions on the double track, but the signal typically only lights for whatever train is coming. So let's say it's coming on main 1. Well, the signal for main 1 will be the only one that lights up. Okay, the westbound train, whatever it is, now has a clear signal. And again, we went from approach to clear, which is kind of interesting. I wonder if that signal doesn't have an approach medium aspect anymore, which I don't know why that would be. Maybe because the next signal is at an interlocking as well? I don't know. It always used to have an approach medium aspect where the signal would go to flashing yellow after solid yellow. But now it's green, so unless Amtrak's moving that fast. All right, so while we wait for these movements, I'm going to keep it panned this way for the eastbound because they were the ones that I noticed first. So most likely they're going to be the ones arriving first. And while we wait, we will go through the chat and talk to you guys as the stream continues. So yeah, we were talking about Old Threshers earlier, and Locomotive 9, the steam locomotive, pretty exciting that Midwest Central has done a test fire, and they've actually operated the engine a little bit. We're hoping that they get all their testing done and get that thing on the rails officially to pull trains for the Old Threshers Reunion. I'm still not sure about that, but hopefully they get all their tests complete and they're able to run fully for the Old Threshers Reunion. And I have a feeling that the engine probably will operate some at the Old Threshers Reunion. Maybe not for the whole thing, but maybe, you know, a couple of days. Hopefully. That's my gut feeling, but we'll have to see. Can't make any guarantees, but because I remember back in 2010 was a really good year as far as steam goes at Old Threshers because it was the final year to date. Obviously, it won't be the final year overall because they will restore some other steam engines to run in the future. But it was the final year so far that Midwest Central had 3 operating steam locomotives. Number 6 was actually down for a year. It missed the 2009 reunion. It was running at 2000, I think it was running in 2008, but it had some boiler issues, some, I don't know, it was flues or something that needed work, and so they took it out of service, and it was out of service for a year. What the? Well, it was a pretty neat sounding horn. Kind of sounded like the horn on a Dash 8 locomotive. We've got the headlight for our eastbound train coming now, so I wonder if that's our local. We'll have to see. We'll get back to the Old Threshers conversation after this train. Hopefully, our westbound doesn't come along and block our shot. It's always a possibility when you've got a double track main line and trains lined up at the same time. And we're technically not supposed to cross the tracks anymore and stand on the middle platform. So we're not going to do that. So I hope that this train shows up before the westbound, because I don't see any signs of the westbound yet. Now, if this is the local, it should approach pretty fast, because it's a little train. And I don't know if you guys heard that horn, but it sounded like that deep, throaty horn that's on some of those old Santa Fe engines. Okay, I think we're going to be good. I don't hear anything behind me. So this is our next train. I don't know what it is, but it would not surprise me if it's the eastbound local. And from the naked eye, it does appear to be a tanker train. So this is probably our eastbound local freight 664 coming towards us now. We'll see what's on this train. There's usually some good power, so we'll see what it is. A trio of Dash 9s, but hey, we'll take it. Kind of nice to see a Heritage 1 in the middle there. And this is not the local freight. This is looks like it might be the LINGAL mixed freight, which is a very long and interesting mixed freight train. Kind of nice. Don't normally see this train this time of day. The A train says the westbound is passing agency now, so we'll be able to see this whole train before it gets here. I always like seeing all these old cars of Burlington Northern. This train has some of the most variety of freight cars you'll see on any train on this line. Oh, look at this. We've got a little test car on the train. Scale test car. Check this out. That's pretty cool. Haven't seen one of those in a while. There's a really neat new Norfolk Southern coil car. South Shore. There's another one. Those covered Burlington Northern coal porters they use to haul sweet bran feed, other grain. Empty coil car. Other newer coil car. Yeah, this is a nice treat. Have some box cars, finally. Canadian National. flatbed cars. Yeah, I could finally see the end in the distance. Lots of old Burlington Northern cars, hopper cars. And the last few cars are tank cars and gondolas. There it goes. That is train LINGAL, eastbound mixed freight, running from Lincoln, Nebraska to Galesburg, Illinois. So they're just about to the end of their trip. A few more hours, and they'll be there. That was a really neat train to see. It's one of only 4 regular mixed freight trains on this line. One of the others is its counterpart train, Gale Lynn, running the other direction from Galesburg to Lincoln. The other 2 mixed freights are trains running from Galesburg to Des Moines and back. The Gale DMO and the DMO Gale. And then, of course, the local trains, which have mixed freight on them as well, but they're a lot shorter. And I saw the tank cars on that train when it was approaching, and I assumed that it was the local because they sometimes do run with modern 6-axle power. But then I saw how long it was, and I knew that they sometimes run longer trains on the weekends. But then I saw all the different variety of cars that you don't normally see on the locals. I'm like, this is not the local. This is a mainline train. And boy, was it. That was a long train. I don't know if anybody counted the cars, but those trains tend to be very long. Now, there wasn't quite as much variety in freight cars as you can normally see on those trains. Sometimes you see auto racks and, flat cars full of train wheels. And sometimes you see, 1 or 2 loaded coal cars going to industries that just get 1 carload of coal, which still exist places around the country. But still a lot of variety on that train. And that test car was pretty neat to see. I don't know when was the last time I've seen one of those. Shoot, might be... I think I saw one in the Quad Cities during Train Festival on the Iowa Interstate. There was a CP local freight that had one on it. I don't know if I've seen another one since then or not. All right, so there's another train coming, and we're going to see it, and probably that'll be the end of our stream for tonight. But we got one more train coming. So in a sense, we have seen 4 trains. We will have seen 4 trains tonight. Started out with that CPKC train from afar, then of course Amtrak, and that train, the LINGAL freight, and then this next train, which I assume is probably going to be a coal train, as most of the freight trains on this line are. Before that train gets here, we'll continue our discussion in the chat. As the sun sets, it's actually getting a little chilly, believe it or not. Very nice light, though. So yeah, back to the Old Threshers conversation. 2010 was the last year that Midwest Central had 3 operating steam locomotives. They had 9. They had the tank engine 16 was still operating, and that was the year that 6 came back from its boiler work overhaul. And that year, 6 did not operate all 5 days. It only operated like the last 3 days of the reunion, 3 or 4 days. It didn't operate all 5 days. So it would not surprise me if 9 may not start out the reunion, but they might end the reunion with running 9. That's just a prediction. I, of course, have no idea whether it'll be completely cleared or not to run, but it would not surprise me if it runs just a little bit for this reunion. But it is for safety's sake. They got to make sure that everything's running properly on the engine before they allow it to pull trains, especially during Old Threshers with as many people ride the trains as they do. They got to make sure that everything is working properly and safe for the public to ride behind. So they're going to take as much time as they need to make sure that happens. But my prediction is it's going to be running at some capacity in the reunion. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it was fun seeing 3 steam locomotives running at Old Threshers, and you were able to see that for many years. It was 6, 9, and 16. Then 9 went to Colorado, and 16 went out of service pending a more detailed boiler inspection. They probably hadn't done one in many years, and so there's a lot of stuff on Midwest Central's plate, and they just haven't gotten around to it yet. And believe it or not, it has been almost 15 years since we've seen 16 running. But I'm hoping that they will eventually get around to working on it and getting the boiler work done and brought it back up. And that is the thing about Engine 16, is that it's not, it runs, but they just haven't steamed it up since 2011 because they want to do a boiler inspection on it and make any necessary repairs. So the engine runs. It's not like it's out of service indefinitely. It's just they haven't had time to get around to it. But when they do, it'll be nice to see 3 engines running again. And they're still working on engine 2, which has been in pieces for decades. But engine 2 should be, I have no idea what the timeline is for that engine being overhauled, but they've been working on it here and there for a long time. And I have never seen that engine run, so it would be interesting when that engine comes back. And there's other engines there. They've got 2 steam engines that are numbered 1. There's an old Mexican steam engine that's numbered 1, and then there's an Argent Lumber Company engine numbered 1 as well that they have. And I don't know if there are any plans to restore those engines to operating condition. I don't think the Argent number 1 was too far past operating condition, but when they bought it, but it was on a private property, so who knows how well it actually ran. And the other engine 1, the Mexican one, it hasn't run for a long time. It's basically just a shell. They'd have to do some serious work to get it running again. But you never know. It's all about money and time, which, tourist railroads don't usually have a lot of those things. But eventually, here's hoping we see even more steam trains running at Midwest Central in the future. Okay, we will get back to that conversation after this train before we end the stream. Here's our westbound freight train here on BNSF. After Amtrak, this is the first westbound train since Amtrak and the second BNSF freight train that we have seen for the night. Let's see what it is. No idea. Guessing it's a coal train. We'll see. is indeed. Westbound empties.
On main 1 at 1945, over. BNSF 9004 West, boarding clear, track warrant 730-31. Between CTC Lucas Street and CTC Ottumwa at 1945, 1945, is that correct, over? That is correct. Alright, y'all safe trip, over. Copy, thank you.
All right, folks, now, breaking news, we have an approach signal for another eastbound. Believe it or not. So, as we wrap things up, I will see if that changes to a clear, and we might end up seeing another train. Never know. Depends on how close it is. Been a pretty busy night for trains here in Ottumwa. But the eastbound signal for trains on main 2, which the LINGAL freight was on, it is now at approach. So that means there's another eastbound train coming. But how long is anybody's guess. So we will see. So to kind of wrap up the Old Threshers discussion, so we can get back to your other comments in the chat here. It'd be nice to see more steam engines running at Old Threshers, so I hope that Engine 9 gets the all clear and is able to operate at some capacity for this year's reunion. It is looking to be a really good year at Old Threshers, which is coming up in about 3 days. Starts on Thursday and it runs through Labor Day. So if anybody is in the area, Mount Pleasant, to go out and check out the Old Threshers Reunion sometime starting on Thursday through Labor Day. All right, let's go ahead and go back through some more of the comments in the chat here. Talking about Old Threshers. Jimmy J was here, stopping by to say hello. Ryan was here. He'll see me there. Yep. Known Ryan for many years. Now, Manuel Valencia asks if Radar is still in Ottumwa. And I'm sure he's referring to Radar O'Reilly, which is the character from the TV series MASH, who was from Ottumwa. And believe it or not, I haven't seen the MASH show. I mean, I know it was very popular, but I've never seen it. I'll have to go back and watch it someday. But that was one of Ottumwa's claims to fame, is that Radar O'Reilly, the character in the show, is from Ottumwa, and he's actually, I'm pretty sure he's actually based on an actual Ottumwa citizen, which I don't know if he's still alive or not, but yep, Dakota mentioned someone looking out the back of the last car on Amtrak earlier. That was one of the conductors. They usually look out the side of the train to watch the brake lights when they're doing their running brake test. It goes from the yellow, the amber color, to green and vice versa when they're doing the brake tests. The yellow means the brakes are applied. Green means the brakes are released. So when they're doing their running brake tests, they will watch those lights to make sure that the brakes are being fully applied on all the cars, and then they'll let the engineer know that was a good brake test. Usually they say something like good runners, which is short for a running brake test, and then the engineer is okay to release the brakes and continue on their way. They always do, Amtrak always does a running brake test on their trains whenever there is a crew change. So whenever there's a change of engineers, they will do a running brake test just to make sure that the brakes are working properly on the train. Well, folks, that was not a very long wait at all. Here's our eastbound train that I talked about. Had no idea when it was going to get here. Well, here it is. I don't have no idea what this train is either. This is our fourth, if you want to be technical, fifth train, but the CPKC train was a ways out. We can't really see it very well from here. But up close wise, this is our fourth train that we've seen in the stream tonight. Don't know what this is. They've got a clear signal in the east now. This does look like a coal train. It's one of the normal trains for this line. Most of the freight trains are coal. Gates dropping down there at Gateway Drive. Yep, it does look like a coal train. So here it comes. Our fourth train of the night. Just a little over an hour of time on the stream, which is not bad. Averages out to a train every 15 minutes. Not bad at all. And there goes that train. Eastbound coal train here on the BNSF. Brings our train count for the night to 4. 5 if you count the CPKC train, but you can just barely see it, so I don't really count that for this stream. So 4 trains passing us here at the station tonight on the BNSF. Now, A train just said that the signal indicates a westbound approaching agency. So is that another train? The signals here are still red to the west, so that train may still be a ways out, but it's just now, it's almost 8 o'clock, so kind of unusual to have this much freight action at night here on the BNSF. Of course, freight trains don't typically run on a, definitive schedule like passenger trains do. They might have a, certain time that the crews go on duty to leave the yards, their origin terminals. But after that, it's just pretty much, they get there when they get there kind of thing. So one day might be totally different from the next. Now, A-Train says that this train is a mixed freight. Good grief. Plot thickens. Well, the signals are still all red here. So we're going to go ahead and go through the chat and just kind of continue chatting here. And if it doesn't show up, and soon, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. But we will see.
Okay, we'll get it knocked out there, thank you.
A-Train was mentioning earlier about engine 203 on the Zephyr that came through last week. He said that apparently it got left behind at Oakland. So that engine didn't even make it east after it went west on Sunday, whenever that was last week. You can definitely tell, and this is kind of how you tell time at Old Threshers. It starts to get dark around 8 o'clock. When it gets dark, it's about 8 o'clock at Old Threshers. And it's pretty amazing because just a couple of months ago, it was still very light at this time. Now it's already starting to get dark. As I continue to do these live streams, which I'd like to keep doing them, even through the winter months, it's going to be getting to dusk and even complete darkness. If I do these during the winter, the whole stream will be after dark, which that'll be kind of interesting. And very cold. I'm not really looking forward to that, but we'll see. It'll be kind of interesting to be out here in winter. If there's any snow or anything like that, it'd be kind of a nice scene. And you guys can just all watch the stream from home, in your nice warm houses, and I'll be out here freezing my butt off. But we'll see. We'll see how the internet cooperates in cold weather. I don't think the internet, for my live streams, I don't think it really changed that much in cold weather, but you never know. The signal might not, travel as quickly as it does in more decent weather, but I have no idea. So A-Train said there was another westbound lined up, allegedly, which it probably is coming, but obviously it cleared Mount Pleasant. But the signals to the west are still red here. Of course, that might also be because of that westbound coal train. Went through probably not even, 15 minutes ago. Might just be a slow-moving train. But it's still all red here, so we'll just keep going through the chat, and if that signal changes, we might see it, and if not, we'll probably just wrap things up, but we'll see. Now, DB42, which was commenting earlier in the stream. He says he's watching from Ludington, Michigan, home of the former Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad train ferry SS Badger, still fired with coal and steam boilers. Wow. And no, to answer your question, I have not had a chance to ride it. That sounds interesting, though. And there were a lot of those years ago, and probably more like in Great Britain and some places around the world. But there used to be a lot more places where there'd be large bodies of water that trains would actually be loaded onto ferries, and the ferry boats would take them across the water to the other side and then be unloaded to the railroad lines on the other side. Very interesting process. Now, there is a ship that takes cars from the continental United States up to the Alaska Railroad in Alaska. Obviously, the Alaska tracks are not connected to the rest of the continental U.S. So to get those cars up there, they have to go on a ferry. It's pretty interesting. And that's how the Alaska Railroad interchanges freight cars with the rest of North America. And A-Train comments about the signals not having the approach medium aspect, which I don't know if they still do or not, but he said maybe they've changed now that they're within CTC instead of at the edge of it. Could be a possibility. Santa Fe 3751 was here commenting on the engine 16 being his favorite engine. I like that engine too. It's really a fun one to see. So hopefully Midwest Central gets it restored sometime in the future. Jeffrey is here. Now he asked probably about 5-10 minutes ago when Amtrak will come. Well, Amtrak's already been here, so if you go ahead and back up the stream, which you can do while it's live, you can actually back up the stream and you'll be able to see Amtrak come in and depart. And A-Train said that I might need to do some in-car streams in the future to stay warm. I might, but you know, if I come out here to do Amtrak, you know, I'm only out here, I mean, I could only be out here for, 30, 45 minutes if I had to. So, I mean, it wouldn't be that bad. I've freezed waiting for trains a lot longer than that in the past. So we'll just have to see if the internet cooperates, if we'll have to maybe stop doing live streams during the winter, but I'd like to keep going. I'd like to keep doing them. So we'll see. But at any rate, it is getting kind of late. The signals to the west are still all red, so I'm probably not going to wait for that next train. And we're also fighting the darkness too. It's going to get dark here pretty soon. We could still get pictures here when the lights kick on, but yeah, signals are still all red, so it's probably going to be a while before that train gets here. With that, we're going to go ahead and start to wrap things up for the night. Now, as I said at the beginning of the stream, there will not be a live stream next weekend because it is Old Threshers. So I will be very busy over at Old Threshers, volunteering, also filming the trains and doing all the other stuff that you do at Old Threshers with the family. So there will not be a live stream next weekend. Probably shoot for the weekend after that, on either Saturday or Sunday. So whatever day works out better for me. So just be on the lookout for that. But anyways, the Old Threshers Reunion is coming up. So if anybody is in the area, go on over to Mount Pleasant and catch all of the railroad action there from Thursday through Labor Day. It's always a lot of fun. It's going to be a big year. A lot of things to see and do. And you might even run into me over there filming. So I'll be around. So that'll be the next thing coming up. So once again, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up for the night. So thank you, everybody, for watching the stream tonight. And maybe I'll see some of you over at Old Threshers in the next few days. If not, we'll probably try to do one of these streams again the next weekend after next. So with that, that's about all for tonight. Been a good night. We've seen Amtrak and 3 BNSF freight trains. Not a bad night at all. So thanks again, guys, for watching, and we will see you all at Old Threshers and in a couple of weeks back here on the platforms in Ottumwa. So that's all for tonight. Thanks, everybody, for watching. So long.